the street. You can't win them all, but you gotta compete. My words are part of the beat. My flow is a part of the sea. Man, I become is what time did. Everybody get a turn, get online, kid. It's all in the mind, kid. Embrace loyalty when you find it.
Sometimes I feel like the world is a cold wind that blows against me. Calling out and it tempt me, that's when my soul is empty. I unfold a Dead Sea Scroll till it empty. And flow, track more codes than the bench. I wrote the book on letting knowledge spill. It's hard to read like the words on the down field of art. I use math to design from afar like an ancient monument, the perfect line on a star. I keep my eye to the sky when I'm rhyming. That's why I'm still ahead of my time like a Mayan. Third eye shine like a diamond. I'm home, come through the jungle like a lion. Ain't a ghetto that can cave me in. On the mental plane, no messing with chain me in. Loud most high said you get your turn to talk. Your wings when you learn to walk. Let's go.
What's up? What's up? What's up? We in the building. Ding, 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 ding. Man, knocking suckers out. Man, look. I wanted to look into this teaching furthermore before I stamp anything or back it as truth. And this is what a lot of us don't do. We don't question what we heard when we hear it. And when you don't question it, you're going to find yourself as a slave, because every man in Christ is free. That's the law. You know what I mean? And I can break it down further. See, but you can read scriptures, but you really got to live this ish. You know, you can't be joking around, playing like you this, you that. You know what I mean? And just by the way, welcome to Undoctored Minds. Y'all know who I am. Y'all rocking with the best. You know what I mean? I don't even consider myself a student of history anymore, because not to sound vain or anything, right now, I feel like, you know what? I don't feel like this is what I've observed, because my feelings don't matter. Just like a lot of y'all niggas, y'all feelings, it don't matter. Don't matter how you feel. But we will get to some truths, though. You know what I mean? I made a connection, but I ain't fully looked more into a certain aspect. But I got to go back over the notes and make sure, because right now it backs my claim. And we're going to talk about King George. Fraud or fact that he's a part of our lineage. Now, y'all gonna find out some interesting facts. So we visit the house of Hanover. Now we got to understand who's behind the house of Hanover, which is where George the First, the great of Great Britain, became the first Hanoverian ruler in Britain in 17 14. Keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. And I want you to keep the date when the King James Bible 1611 came out. So what I want to do, I want to read a little further so y'all can get a little bit more understanding of, so we can get a little bit more understanding of King George, the first of Great Britain. So thanks to Queen Anne of Great Britain. Remember that name, Queen Anne. Like, this is what y'all need to be writing down, man. I'm telling you, you need to write this down, and you need to take this in. I'm telling you, if you don't, you're gonna be lost in the sauce. So we know that King George, the first of Great Britain, ruler from 1714 to 1727, became the first Hanoverian, ruler in Britain in 1714, thanks to Queen Anne. Thanks to Queen Anne. Now, I like this because now what I want to do right now, I want to take this off, and I want to put something on screen real quick so we can get more understanding of Queen Anne. Why would King George give thanks to Queen Anne? We're gonna let's see if we can find out something for a minute. Let's see something. Now, this is the royal house of Stuart, and you're gonna find out Mary Stuart ended up marrying King George. But let's just stick with the basics right now. So let's jump down. Let's jump down. I think I need to go back. Hold on, y'all. You know what? Let's do this right here. Let's do this right here, man. Let's take this out. Let's put what's on screen back on screen, because we gotta finish this out. George was an elector of Hanover, a small principality in Germany, and the Queen's nearest Protestant relative. He did have remote connection to the royal Stuart line, as he was the descendant of Elizabeth Stuart from 1662, daughter of James the First. Could it be the King James? Well, let's just finish reading this out. Of England from 1703 to 1625. George the First was succeeded by his son, who became George II of Great Britain from 1727 to 1760. George II did not have a good relationship with his eldest son and heir Frederick Louis. But Frederick died 9 years before his father in 1751 of pneumonia or of a sporting accident. Man, boy, what is it about these dudes hunting and they end up shooting somebody in the woods? But anyway, man, Frederick's eldest son George was then selected as heir to the throne. So we know all this happened about around 17 something. Because we're gonna get deep into what I'm talking about. And this right here goes to the man. This here, we need to see This goes to the East Indian trade, but we got to see which date. I forgot to get a date, but I know this was around the 1800s. 1800. So basically, this was the real slave trade route, or better yet, relocating people, relocating animals. As if y'all seen the video I did before, telling you about biological control, and this is what you're going to see, because a lot of people got overthrown. If you look up into the 1800s, a lot of wars broke out. 1812. Look up 1812. Look at all the wars. But remind you, King George came in 1714, if I ain't mistaken. So let's get to the next one. I want to make this brief because I want to go ahead and try to squeeze in some time for some other projects I got lined up. So let's get to the next one. The Stuart royal line. So we're going to find out about the Stuarts. As a matter of fact, we're going to look at their crest. We're going to look at their family crest. You see the lion and you see the unicorn. And if you notice in the Bible talk about the unicorn and the lion. The lion most often, but the unicorn maybe a few times. So this is another one of the Stuarts. This is a different crest, but same design, same emblem. Now, we're going to get back to where we were. Now, the Stuart royal line originally spelled Stuart, was founded in Scotland when Robert II took the throne in 1371. James VI of Scotland, in England known as James I, then unified Scottish and English crowns following the death of Elizabeth I of England in 1603. The Stuarts went out on to rule over both kingdoms until the death of Queen Anne. So we know that George I had to give thanks to Queen Anne for getting on the throne. But we're going to find out more about Queen Anne later on. And the thing is, we're going to try to see and find out who was she married to. Did she marry in, or was she original bloodline of the Stuarts? So let's drop to the second paragraph real quick. In this collection, we examine the detail and the reigns of the Stuart monarchs north and south of the border. The House of Stuart provided transition from the late medieval Tudors to the early modern Hanovers. Did y'all hear me? Stuart monarchs often too close for comfort, witnessed some tremendous events such as the Gunpowder Plot, 1605, the English Civil Wars, from 1642 to 51. The execution of Charles I, 1649, and the abolishing or the abolition, excuse me, of the monarchy, the Stuart Restoration in 1660, and the Act of the Union, 1707. So we want to get more into the gunpowder plot and what came about with that, and the English Civil Wars. So now we can get to this tab. We can open it up a little bit and try to find out more about the gunpowder plot in the English Civil Wars. So let's get to it. Let's pop this on in. Okay, let's make sure it's on screen. Take this off. Okay, there we go. There we go. There we go. Man, like when you come here, man, you gonna learn what you need to learn. You ain't finna get no fake. You ain't finna have a nigga giving you dreams and delusions. So let's move down because we already read this earlier. I had to script this part out. Now this is where we're about to get to. The gunpowder plot from 1605, and then the English Civil Wars. Now, y'all know I talked about this in my other presentation, and it's gonna come up. For right now, let's check out the gunpowder plot. Let's see what this was about. Let's see what gunpowder plot was about. Matter of fact, I don't even want to read. I don't even want to read. We gonna let them read. We gonna let the computer read since we got technology. Hold on, y'all. Hold on. Still low. But anyway, let's do it. Let's do it. I'll do it myself. I could do it myself. All right. In 1605, the gunpowder plot was a failed attempt by the pro Catholic conspirators to blow up the English Parliament on Sorry about that. Sorry about that. I'm back in. I'm back in. Man, let's go back to this map real quick. I'm gonna make it short and spiffy. Now, dang, so I'm gonna have to go back here too, right? So we know that we know that King George was a Hanoverian. And as you see right here, it says, I never saw anybody in such glee as the king was in the day at the levee, which was much crowded. He complimented the Duke of Argyll upon the behavior of the Argyllshire men. Now, see, you're gonna have to look up Argyllshire. You're gonna see you, and then you go to their lineage. See, this is where you're gonna find out who King George really is and what the politics was all about. So let's jump down here to the next one underneath what we just read. There is no denying that at times, under all four Georges, although not William the Fourth, the Hanoverians were extremely unpopular. They were also not of the most competent of monarchs. The British monarchy lost significant portions of its subjects thanks to the War of American Independence from 1775 to 1783. The cause of which much owed and much to the cause of which much owed much to George III unpopular and unsuccessful role as a king of the North American colonies. So basically, they was ruling over America, and the son tried to rule over it and wasn't able to rule over and lost support of it. Now, when we talking about, like I said, King James, well, the Stuart name, we'll find out that the Stuarts have been around long before there was ever a King George. And we're going to read some more about King George. So let's finish this on out. Under the same ruler, Hanover was conquered and lost to the French control from 1803 to 1813. Because we got to find out how Queen Anne and Elizabeth played in a lot of things. Succession of the electoral house of Hanover. See, they already implemented their government already in England once they was able to get the Stuart family out the way. Let's finish. Let me go and read this again. Succession of the electoral house of Hanover. The House of Hanover's claim to the English and Scottish thrones derived from James the Sixth and the first daughter. So it was their daughter Elizabeth from 1596 to 1662, who had in 1613 married Frederick the Fifth. So now we finding out how they got into our politics and took over in England, like with much success they did in Arabia, they did in India, they did in Asia, like what they and has done in America. Don't forget, if you go back to the second article, it'll tell you the British monarchy lost a significant portion of its subjects thanks to the War of the American Independence. From 1775 to 83. So who had married So this is how they got in, and you will find the same thing as for how Queen Anne got into the royal family. Well, our ancestors. But let's finish reading this on now. Elector, Palatine, and Calvinist stalwart of the Protestant cause in cause cause in Germany, and the short-lived king of Bohemia in the early stages of the 30 Years' War. And we all know that King George is related to these people. As a result of which Elizabeth was known as the Winter Queen. Hmm. Elizabeth's younger daughter, Sophia, from 1630 to 1714, had married Ernest August, and of the North German Protestant princely house of Brunswick-Luttenberg from 1629 to 98 in 1658. The future King George was the eldest of their large family of 6 boys and 1 girl. Ernst August and his brothers. See, and this is the thing, man. Like now we find it now a lot of things about King George. Now we finding out why King James, the Bible, was named King James. I mean, practically they had already killed Charles the First. Basically, what they did now today is imitated everything. Now we got a Charles of England living under a fake ass identity, and this is the same thing. So they took those identities and they want you niggas to have the identities that you niggas got online, bruh. Where the hell that come from, man? Come on, come on, come on. Y'all with me, man? Is y'all keeping up with me, man? Y'all gotta tell me something, dog. Is y'all keeping up with me? Is y'all keeping up with me? We're gonna find out in a minute. So now this leads us to where we was before I had to go back. Sorry for not for the sound. So the Duchy of Denmark originated in the 8th century and became a unified kingdom in the 9th century. Early history, the earliest signs of human presence in Denmark date back to the old Stone Age 10,000 years ago. The country's earliest history characterized by the Viking Age and the Middle Ages with phases of expansion and civil wars. And this how they keep you divided, because the same tactics that worked for them when they overthrown us is the same tactics that they use right now on the very American people to keep people subjugated in their feelings. But we're gonna get into that in another teaching. So let's finish this out. And this is all relating back to King James. King George. This is all relating back to him, man. Because you see King Frederick right here. Same one we just got through talking about. And we're gonna go back and I'm gonna show you. So, unification. The history of Denmark as a unified kingdom began in the 8th century with the Christianization of the Danes around 960. And this is how if I showed y'all the movie, I can't remember the movie. I showed it last year to show y'all they show our actual overtaking. That's where London Bridge is falling down, because it was a civil war between the Danes and our ancestors. The Danes are what I want to get it right. I think what I have, I'm gonna have to say Later, I say the Danes are the ancestors of the Normans, which y'all gonna read about when y'all start digging in the King George background. And it would seem crazy to me that people would want to push that narrative. So let's finish this on off, man. Of the Danes around 960 AD, King Frederick the Tenth can trace his lineage back to the Viking kings. Gorm, look up that name Gorm, and you're gonna find a lot of stuff. And Gorm of the old and Harold Bluetooth. Damn. Ain't this funny? We got a Bluetooth. They named everything behind their ancestors to cover up a lot of things. It makes sense. So, the geographical significance, Denmark's geographical location between North and the Baltic Seas, has been strategically and economically important. This is how they get you. Strategically infiltrating, causing a civil riot that leads to a war, and now takeover. Once takeover, economically controlling you then. Because they already beat you. It ain't enough to beat you. Now they got economically beat you. And this is what a lot of us fail in. Because most of us, we want to talk instead of do. So, like I tell a lot of these Christians, if you think God is in somebody that hears the word of God and don't move, that's why you think these people ain't moved. Why you think they moving now since I came in? It was a seed that hit one of them, they hit one of the bodies, one of these ground. And something grew in the people, but when these dudes that's around that been teaching false teachings stay around, you'll never be able to grow because you still gonna have that cancer in you. And that's what most of these dudes have become, these so-called teachers and leaders and scholars. They become cancer to the people. But let's finish reading this on out, man, before we get up out of here. Leading to disputes between Sweden and Germany over control of Scandinavian. And y'all really expect me to spell that, man? Man, y'all must be out y'all doggone mind, man. I tried though. Schleswig Holstein. The modern history, Denmark has played a notable role in European history, contributing to the world culture and developing humane governmental institutions. The country joined NATO in 1949 and was liberated from Nazi Germany in 1945. If y'all wonder who came over and took over England and led us to where, and even at the same time taking over England, tried to take over the American colony. So this is a little background check to see if King George is legit. And sad to say, man, I ain't gonna make no judgment. From what y'all heard, I'm gonna let y'all make y'all own judgment. If you agree that King George is a part of our lineage in a way to get us where we want, but still gonna keep us strategically and economically beaten. See, they play these experimental procedures because you got hip hop, you got the you got the gospel, you got the gospel movement, but it's really just a part of a culture. Same way as you got the NCAAP, it's just a part of a culture. It's a norm. It's not even a movement. Same way as people get caught up with that sovereignty bull ish. Because The more, like I said, this it was disinformation. Let me see if I can pull this up real quick. Show y'all something. Because it is backed by the Southern Poverty Law Center. So it's backed by the ones you trying to fight. So if it's backed by the ones you trying to fight, how far you think that's gonna get us? Let me real quick, y'all. Oh yeah, let me get back. Let me do this. Take you all. Let me do this. Yeah, man, cause it's crazy, man. We sit up here, man, and we be listening to these dudes, and most of us gonna find ourselves messed up, man, behind that bull mess. Man, for real. For real, for real. Let's do this. Here we go, y'all. Here we go. Sovereign belief system. The contemporary sovereign belief system is based on decades of old conspiracy theory that the American government was set up by the founding fathers under a common law or legal system was secretly replaced. They believe that the replacement government swapped common law for the admiralty law of maritime law. Excuse me. Some sovereign believe this change occurred. See, they keep saying believe. So it's basically an opinion. Some sovereigns believe this change occurred during the Civil War, while others blame the events of 1933 when the U.S. abandoned the gold standard. But I just got through reading y'all where when all this stuff happened in the 1800s. Do your research on the wars of 1812. But I want to get into something more important, man. Let me see if I can get this up here. Okay, this the takeaway. In 2023, the sovereign citizens movement continued to flourish. The increase of disinformation around politics and health in recent years has fostered an environment where facts are challenged and, conspiracy theories, such as the ones perpetuated by sovereign citizens, have grown in popularity and reach. Perpetuated statements. And y'all listening to these, man, I tell you, boy, anything sound good to a fool, don't it? Anything sound good to a fool, don't it? Am I lying? Y'all know I ain't lying, man. Like, this is crazy. This is crazy, man. This is crazy. Do y'all see that, man? Golly. These people sit up here and listen to other people and don't know they being misled because they don't want to really learn no information. They just want to hear from somebody instead of researching themselves because they're too lazy to do the work, man. Like our people want people to do the work for them. That's crazy. So, man, I hope this teaching been edified, and I hope y'all check me, check my work, check my research, and let me know if my work and my research don't add up. But with that said, man, this is your boy Joseph the Messiah, man. All around, just strengthening my wisdom, man. Saying, man, I'm out and gone. Peace.